Well, happy mid morning, and good morning. I hope you're having a good morning. This is your Queen of Community Conversation, Dr. Claudia D. Fowler, here at the studio with the view at the After Party Radio. I want to say a good morning, first of all, to Montana Mitchum, station owner and program manager, who is here with us today, over there taking care of business, making sure we're up and on the air. We do have a great show today coming up. I want to say good morning again to the Joppa community, Greater Gordon, Missionary Baptist Church, my pastor, Pastor Alfred Cox Jr., to the class of 1979, and to all of our listeners and followers out there in the social media and Facebook world. On last week, as we were ending the show, we, of course, always took our after post-show pictures. And I want to say again to thank you, Joe Cifuentes, for coming on, the ex-ICE agent that came on last week and gave us some good resources, spilled the tea a little bit. So I do appreciate that. And again, blessings to you, Joe, and your future endeavors. He is a retired federal ex-ICE agent. So again, when we were leaving the show, coming down the freeway, we noticed that there was some smoke hovering over the Dallas skyways. So I'm looking at, and I'm thinking it was in the West Dallas area. Good morning, West Dallas, Omar. Again, congratulations, JP in the house. I thought it was at West Dallas area. Well, when I got around the bend, I saw it was in Oak Cliff. And so tragedy did strike Dallas on last week. It struck the Democratic Party pretty hard as we lost Sylvia Collins, one of our precinct chairs. So I just want to take 1 minute or less and give her, let's have a moment of silence just for Sylvia. Sylvia, we love you and we miss you. Thank you. We have not heard anything on celebration of life or final arrangements, but when we do, I will post it on my page. Again, Sylvia Collins was a fighter for the Democratic Party. She was a advocate and activist in the community with campaigns, the Democratic Party. Whatever we needed Sylvia to do, she was there. So we want to give homage to her and say, Sylvia, again, we miss you and we love you. So now on to our show. As y'all know, this is Juneteenth, Freedom Month. And y'all know how I am about Juneteenth. I'm big on Juneteenth, birthdays, and Christmas. Really not in that order, birthdays, Juneteenth, and Christmas. But I wanted to say that I have someone on my show today that I always give, say a good morning and a shout out to the Joppa community. Well, as you all know, just a little girl from Joppa. People often ask me, well, who are you? I'm just a little girl from Joppa. And they laugh, but I be meaning that because that's who I am. And now that, I'm a grown-up lady from Joppa, I have had such a wonderful life from living in the Joppa community, the people that raised me, the people that I've shared things with, that have taught me and that have brought me. So today, we have, sitting in my chair, my friend, my sister friend, and we are foes and enemies sometimes. That's like maybe 2 hours. Then we pass it because, and we were always taught, we're going to fight. We're going to fight. Don't come at neither one of us because we're going to both get you, okay? So now I want to let you know, put it out there. But I want to let you know that she is a advocate for the Joppa community, and I'm going to take time to read her resume. The Melissa Pierce Project. Shalandra Gallimore, say hello to the people. Hello, people. Shalandra Gallimore is a respected community leader, nonprofit executive, author, and advocate dedicated to preserving the history and advancing the future of the historic Joppa community in Dallas, Texas. A fourth of five, Joppa native, she serves as founder and CEO of the Melissa Pierce Project Incorporated, president of the South Central Civic League, precinct chair number 3045, the voting, and president of the Dallas South Lions Club. Gallimore is the author of While I Wait, an executive producer of the award-winning documentary 150 Years of Resiliency. Woo! And now we didn't plan this, but it often happens. A Joppa documentary which highlights the rich legacy and resilience of one of Texas's historic freedmen communities. A graduate of David W. Carter High School, all right, them Carter Cowboys, and Jarvis Christian University, she is widely recognized for her leadership, civic engagement, and commitment to empowering underserved communities through preservation, education, and advocacy. Shalandra Gallimore's legacy is rooted in preserving history, empowering communities, and creating pathways to future generations to thrive. Though through her leadership, advocacy, and service, she is committed to ensuring that the story of Joppa is remembered, its residents are respected and represented, and its future is protected. By building strong civic institutions, mentoring emerging leaders, documenting community history, and championing equitable opportunities, she seeks to leave a legacy of resilience, self-determination, and community pride that inspires future generations to lead with purpose and serve with compassion. So I present to you all my friend Shalandra Chriselle
Oh, wow. Government
Gallimore.
name.
I had to call the whole government name. Y'all know how I do. So, welcome to the Queen of Community Conversation.
Thank you for having
And
me.
she has been with me every step of the way from the onset back last August up until now, the relaunch up until now. So, as a little girl, growing up in Joppa, like you said, you're fourth or fifth generation. Tell us about the second, third, and fourth generation.
Well, good morning, everyone, and thank you for having me. Second, third, well, okay, I'm fourth of 5 generations. My great grandmother, Rosalie Bosch Jackson, she came to the community about late 30s, early 40s,
Okay.
and she was a widow. Her children were grown at that time, but she wanted to leave a legacy for her children's children, and she ultimately built 6 homes and owned 7. All 7 of the homes there. My grandparents moved there, so which would be her son.
Hold on,
And then-
literally built like she had hammer
Literally.
and nails and the wood. You know,
Yeah.
back then they was about
Yeah,
it.
she was. I think Mr. Hull. You remember the carpenter,
I do,
Mr. Hull?
I
Yeah.
do.
So he taught her. She was carrying logs and nails and hammers and everything. And she literally did it. And so those homes still stand today. My grandparents, my parents, they actually went to the Melissa Pierce School. And so then I come along, leap year, and I guess the rest is history. I mean, my
Now
children
she has
actually
2
grew up.
birthdays, so she gets to celebrate like the 28th and the 29th
29th.
and March 1st.
And the
So-
1st.
Okay, all right.
So yeah, so that's a little about me.
So now, for its leadership, you're now president of the South Central Civic League, which has been in existence since 1948,
Mm-hmm.
up under the what's the word I want to hear? Tutelage of the late Laura Bell and P.H. Foster.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, as a leader in the Joppa community, what do you see from the difference of when our parents were in charge? I mean, they got what they could get done, of course, you know, with getting us incorporated in 1955 and all the good things. So, as a leader in Joppa, what do you see is the difference now of where we've come from then to where we are now?
It's a big difference. People beg to differ because when you come out there now, you still see the roads and the construction, and people think not much has changed, but a lot has changed with good leadership like Miss Laura Bell Foster, Charlie Mae Jackson. I won't start calling names, but you all laid a foundation for the generations coming behind you to just kind of pick up the torch, or you pass the torch for us to just, keep running on. So the demographics have changed a lot.
A lot.
We didn't expect to see that, but it happens. Seasons change. Nothing stays the same forever. So that's the importance of us preserving our history while moving forward. So
as we talk about the Melissa Pierce project, we know that there was a incident, if you will, back in the late 50s when our children went to the former school board building up on Illinois and Linfield. It's no longer there. It's flattened, it's gone, or whatever's going on up there. And they were turned away. So when we talk about Melissa Pierce, who said just one day, I'm tired, I've had it, I'm going to donate this land. And by the way, she was the daughter of
former slaves.
Okay. So, when we talk about the history of Joppa, we have to look at, we were founded in 1872, which is well before the 1880s, because there were some other freedmen's towns that existed here in the city of Dallas. And I think that we, if not all about the others, I know when I went to Sandbranch, I did find out that Sandbranch was also a freedmen's town
Really?
that came along after the 1872 here with Joppa. So when we talk about Melissa Pierce and the way that she looked at education, she was wanting to educate our children. So tell us a little bit about the Melissa Pierce project. Melissa Pierce, like I said, and I'm still, like I've told y'all, we don't know where she got the land, who donated it to her,
Right.
and whoever that Boaz is, please have a great uncle about 90 years old sitting around because I'm looking for him, okay?
Okay.
Just to have a conversation. So now, let's talk about the Melissa Pierce project and how the South Central Civic League ties in with that being the nonprofit in the community.
So Miss Melissa Pierce, like Claudia said, was the child of a former slave, and like we don't know where the land came from, but she owned it. She owned a lot of land in Joppa, and so she and Miss Laura Bell Foster, which was the founder of the South Central Civic League, they came together because they were like, something has to be done. So they went to school board meetings. They said month after month. They could not actually sit in the school board meeting. They had to sit outside. Yeah, they sat outside. They brought their chairs and they sat outside. But they were petitioning the Wilmer Hutchins Independent School District to provide a school for the children in Joppa. Fast forward, they decided, okay, we will build a school, but you have to provide the land. Well, she's like, I got it. Just come on with it.
Yeah.
So actually, in 1953 is when they built the Melissa Pierce School for the children in Joppa, and it stayed open about 11 years. But that's the connection with Melissa Pierce and Miss Laura Bell Foster with the South Central Civic League. Fast forward to today, the Neighborhood Association is still thriving, going strong, 78 years old, 78 years old. And the Melissa Pierce Project came about in 2021. Habitat for Humanity had acquired the land, the school. And I went to the then CEO, his name is Mr. Crawford, Dave Crawford, and just told him that we needed a community center, a multi-purpose center in the community. And he was like, send me a proposal, and sent the proposal. And from that point, there was a group that had been trying to preserve the building, and it had gone on for a few years. But when I gave him the proposal, he said that was the most comprehensive plan that he had seen.
Wow.
And he wanted to go forward. So going forward, on Juneteenth, 2021 is when he signed the deed over to the Melissa Pierce Project for us to build a multi-purpose center.
Because right now, a lot of y'all may not understand, and this is more or less going to be like a conversation, like, because we talk sometimes every day, all day, but, when we look around and we see that, that was not so much as important to us as it is to the kids that we have in the community now, because right now, like I said, like I posted yesterday, it's summertime. Our kids don't have a convenient recreation center they can just walk to, get out basketballs from the rack, have, rec people there to, to lead and guide, have a food service coming in with food. Our kids actually have nowhere in the community to go but to the park. Now, we do have a very beautiful park. Good morning to you, Daniel Wood. That they have improved quite a bit. Thank you, Tiffany, for that from back in the day. We have a water park that they can come and cool off. In fact, I got them there on past Saturday, and like I said, we also had something that was quite refreshing. But when I was sitting there, and I am going to post this, I got so emotional sitting there, and my daughter was with me. She said, "Why you look like you're from the cry?" I said, "Well, when I'm seeing children walk to our park, they're able to get into the water park and have fun and play with their water guns and throw water on each other." I said, this is what all of the fussing and past the cussing and all the time we had to go to City Hall and sit and wait all day till sometimes we wouldn't get seen or heard till the end of the evening when City Council meeting was over. That made it all worth the while to me to say they can just come up the street and have what other children and other communities have. So when I look at that and I look at what I know that we're going to have for as the community, the multi-purpose center, it just makes it all the while of the waiting and, the long meetings and, you ripping and you running and, writing this up and doing email and all the stuff that you have to do in order to make it happen. I want to say on air, like Cindy told Aprilyn the other day, thank you. Because, it takes a community leader with persistency, takes someone with patience, and that's what I do not have. When I was pregnant with Calista, that's the most patience I had when I was 9 months pregnant. And I was like, well, you need to come on because I got stuff I got to go do. But after the 9 months, I was okay because I was back to normal. It's like, after we get it open, you can have your
Right.
I'm
And
gonna
I'm
make
looking
sure you get
forward to it.
a aha moment because and we're looking forward to that because of all the things that we're talking about doing in there. You're talking about an indoor pool,
Yeah. Well, it's going to be outdoors.
outdoors now.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's going to be outdoors. But yeah, it's a multi-purpose center. To go back when you were saying you got teary-eyed at the park, I don't know if you even
I
reflected
get
on that.
teary eyed when I look at that
Yeah.
at the documentary.
But that was three generations of you
Right.
all there, yeah, as well. You know what I'm saying? And that's what it's all about. But the multi-purpose center, I don't call it a community center because it's going to serve multiple purposes
Right.
because of the deficiencies that we have in the community. We're just trying to, fill in everywhere that we can. But yeah, it's going to be a pool. It's an outdoor pool, but it would be covered, so it will be attached to the
Oh,
actual building. So
okay.
something fancy they got going on. But
She has showed us. She has done as far as having community meetings and having people to come out to show us renderings
Yes.
of what it could look like. Getting our boys involved on what we want. Like long as it's got somewhere I can sit down and it's in the cool.
and it's cool.
And
Exactly.
so yeah.
Exactly. So the sad thing about it is that the city, the reason we haven't had one prior because they said it's not enough density in Joppa, and so okay, we've accepted that, but that's part of our resiliency. That it's like, okay, well, if you all can't build it, we have to have one. So let's go find it and let's
Right.
do it. And that's how it came about. But from the multi-purpose, it will just serve. Go to the melissapierceproject.com and you will see everything that it has. But right now, HKS, a couple of years ago, they went through, we had a partnership where they designed it, but it was like a 35,000 square foot building. So we've had to come back. And so now we're actually working on one. That's a big surprise or whatever. But that building would be about 15 to 17,000 square feet. So still a pretty large building because what's there now is 10,000 square
Okay.
feet. So give you kind of an idea of what is to come.
Okay. So now we know that we have on this coming Saturday, 2026, not Joppa, but the Aya Symposium at the Trinity River Audubon Center, and this is around the community of Joppa. This year's annual symposium theme, Preserving Our 40 Acres. I guess that's not including a mule, but preserving our 40 acres, retain, reclaim, and reuse. It says we will begin with the exploration of the origin of 40 acres as a symbol of dreams deferred and realized with regard to black land ownership in the 19th and 20th centuries. The focus will then shift to developing strategies for maintaining and strengthening that ownership legacy, both rural and urban, into the future. So how important is it that we in the community of Joppa, because we do have a lot of homeowners out there, second and third, fourth generations, that still own property, that we retain, reclaim, and reuse our property land. And we talk about, the Joppa Mama Farm and how Kim came back and she's got greens growing all down Carbondale and, and picking cucumbers. So how important is it that we retain and that we reuse our land in Joppa? It's like it's important to me. I know it's important to you because of the second and third generations that built.
Yeah, it's very important. It's vitally important because I see so many news clips and reportings, and they call Joppa a former Freedman's Town. And so it's all about the narrative that's written. And so
Right.
that's why we had to film our own documentary so we could tell our own story. So it's nothing former about
And if
Joppa.
you've not saw that documentary, we were the story. Well, I can't say we were.
We-
we had a lot of good people in that. Keena was on there, and Miss Belvita was on there, and Miss
Dr.
Hicks was on there.
Allen.
Yeah, Dr. Allen. Come on, Dr. Allen, you go UTA Mavericks, and of course I was on there. I was probably somewhere trying to walk the red carpet, but whatever. Anyway, the documentary was really, really good, and it gave a true sense of who we are, for the Joppa community, because, like she said, the narrative is so important. We've heard, now we've got a new one, Joppa Freedom Community. Yeah, we have so many names that people have gave us, and then they get mixed up with why is it spelled Joppa and Joppee? We saw it Joppy, and we have had an ongoing, continuous conversation with people about the spelling of the name. It is spelled Joppa, because that's in the Bible. when we were able to attain the 300 some acres of the Joppa Preserve, which is down the highway around the corner, from John Wiley Price back in the day. It's in the Bible, like I said, 12 to 14 times, but it's pronounced Joppa. Because as a little girl, that's what I called it, Joppa. Now, I didn't know how to spell it back then, but I know it was pronounced Joppa, so that's why. And then there have been, various spellings and variations of spelling for it, but it's always about the narrative. So that, I think, and we also won did we get the Academy for that? What did we get for that?
Stop. We won at Denton Black Film Festival. And you were talking about the film, right?
Yeah,
and then also in Cannes, France, the film festival in Cannes. So, yeah.
International.
Yeah.
What I'm talking
so we
about.
went international, and Denton, we were recognized by our own. So that was, and we didn't do it for that. We were just doing it. I think Soledad O'Brien had come to Joppa. She cut out a lot. She, they rewrote the narrative that they wanted. And then I think after that, the Dallas Morning News, remember, he did like a 10-page, 15-page spread, and it was trash. You actually burn up the paper, and we have that went viral, whatever. But yeah, so it's
about
important.
5,000 people saw that, so I'm sure somebody from Dallas Morning News, a clerk or somebody probably saw it. And then there was that article that they did. Because I have to remember this, October 10th, which is my birthday, 1990, Bill Menetaglio did a story on Joppa called The Town That Time Had Forgot. And that's how we felt in the 90s, that we were forgotten. We would call about everything from dead dogs, street lights, tires being dumped. And, it was just a thing of where, it was like a constant for me. It was a constant fight. To where some mornings I would get up, I couldn't even see straight because it was like every day it was something that we were fighting for. And now, as you've taken over in your older South Central Civic League and things have kind of mellowed out, we had 416 vacant lots. We almost went into a land bank at one time. Habitat came in, stabilized the community. Some people have leaned towards gentrified the community now because they are still building, and that's fine. We also have other developers that are still building in our in our clean-up community because, as y'all know, Joppa used to be the best kept secret. The only time you heard anything about Joppa was when somebody got shot or when a house caught on fire. Or somebody got killed or whatever, So that was the only time you would hear about Joppa because we were so tucked away, by the Trinity River. And I always have liked that. I would say we got some of the prettiest women, some of the best cooks this side of the Trinity River. When I would talk about Joppa. So now we are on to the celebration and things that you brought. You brought a golf tournament, and Saturday we had a phone bath. Well, I won't say phone bath, but might as well been phone bath. And all the things that you brought to the community. Just the thing that the movie days and all that. Talk about some of that.
Well, what I tried to do with that is
y'all don't see me post, but talk about some of that.
I tried to relive some of the past because, like we said, there was never a recreation center. So for the generations that I've heard before me to say, well, if there was something for us to do, I might not have turned out like this.
Right.
And so that really, in the last 10 or 11 years, really kind of hit home. So I would, have events for the children, but then we'll have events for the adults, the generations before me or whatever. But from where have we gone? Like everywhere. We take excursions, and so we have the Universal Circus. We take them to.
Thank you to the late Edna P. Mrs. Pemberton for that.
Right. The African American Museum, the Perot Museum. And what's so special about it is that now we're seeing the children 10 and 11 years older, and they're either teenagers or graduated or even graduated from college, some of them, but the parents would say they could be driving down the street and they were like, that's where Miss Shalandria took us, that's where look. And so that I'm all about exposure. And so I had the exposure growing up, but I do realize that everyone didn't. So the things that I was exposed to, that's all I want to do. And even the multipurpose center is going to be great because, like I said, there's so many different things that we will be having there, but not just recreation, but actually teaching them as well, have a lot of education. So, and I try to not have as many activities this year, but you just can't not. You
Right,
cannot
right.
do anything. And so, yeah, so looking forward to Juneteenth again. We just finished up our end of the school bash for the children this past Saturday. And here's Juneteenth in Joppa. We're going to actually celebrate on Friday, June 19th this year. Normally we do it the Saturday, but we're doing it on the 19th
Nah, not this year.
Yeah.
Let's celebrate, reflect, and continue the march toward justice. As always, food, fun, and fellowship is on the menu, and a viewing of 150 Years of Resiliency, a Joppa documentary. Juneteenth is a powerful reminder that freedom delayed is not freedom denied. Hosted by the Melissa Pierce Project and established 2021, Joppa Mama's Forum, 1 to 5 p.m. Yes, it's in the heat of the day, but you know what? You go everywhere else. South Central Park, 4753 Fellows Lane, in the community of Joppa, established 1872. And there has been, some not rumored, but speculation and fact that in Dallas, Joppa was the first place that they celebrated Juneteenth was in our community. Now, you don't believe me, we got documentation and you can look it up. So speaking of other celebrations, Lennon and Legacy, ain't that nice, y'all? Ain't that nice? It says Lennon and Legacy, a Joppa all-white affair. Woo! July 5th, 2026 at 4 p.m. The Women's Museum, 3800 Perry Avenue. And this is a fundraiser for?
Yes, that's a fundraiser for the Melissa Pierce Project. As you know, again, we are raising funds to build the multipurpose center. We do have a $5 million contingency donation that will actually build the entire multipurpose center. So
that 5 with an M?
With the M.
Oh, right.
With the M, but we're always raising funds for more because there are other things that's to actually build the center. But we have to run the center. We have to,
Got to pay a light bill. Got to pay a water bill.
Yeah, and then we have another surprise coming up, but I'm going to hold that one. But
Ooh,
yeah, so
you
it's a fundraiser. No, I can't
spill. All right.
No, maybe I'll come back and do it close to the time.
All right.
But yeah, it's a multi-purpose center. Instead of having the golf tournament this year, wanted to switch it up and say, hey, let's come in and dress up. We're going to have a comedian there, dinner and dancing, auction also. It's going to be, and we recognize July the 4th. A lot of people come in around the weekend, so hopefully, they can get their family and come on out. And
as I tell people, I observe the 4th. I celebrate Juneteenth. I'm the blackly black on Juneteenth, on the month of June. So when we talk about the celebration, you always do the big decorations, and we always have the, have the flag out. And it said the Pan-African flag consists of 3 horizontal bands of red, black, and green. And that's what we usually have our colors, symbolizing African unity, pride, and liberation. The red, in case you don't know, represents the blood that unites all people of African ancestry and the sacrifices made for their liberation. The black symbolizes the people of Africa and their identity as a distinct nation, affirming their existence and dignity. The green reflects the abundant natural wealth and resources of Africa, representing hope and prosperity for the continent. So, one of your wishes for us in the Joppa community is that we have hope, prosperity, that we are a community that thrives. And I have to say again, you came back and you're giving back, and really that's what we were taught about, coming back and giving back to. And I say to all young leaders that want to work in the community, and I admire you all, but one thing I do want to say, our generation watched and we listened to our elders. They taught us, they might wouldn't use the word gal or get over there or whatever, but or they would say it in a rough tone, but they taught us how to be resilient, and that's a word that we've always used. And speaking of resilient, I know that I posted pictures of you and I and the late Eddie Bernice Johnson. And when you told me, I'm so glad that we went ahead and did that after she retired, and got her to come to the community because she had did so much. And I always tell people the story of when we were building that bridge, the Freedom Town Bridge.
Yeah.
And they left us with a half a bridge for almost half a year. And I'm like, no. So I called on her, and I'm the type, I don't call on my elected official friends for a whole lot.
Right.
Only when, I'm backed up into a corner and I feel like, okay, I let me call somebody that's been elected. And she made a phone call, and the next morning, they were back up there, that little ants working on that bill. I don't know what she said or what she did, but you all know she was one, as I always use the word, was about it. I told people I would be her rah-rah girl because I loved her. She mentored me, and she was just the type that, she didn't take a L, and I worked her campaign for three or four tours, and whatever she did, she always held the community of Joppa at heart. And when she did her kitchen cabinet talk, she came out there. So, and I think it was like her desire, like it is your desire, to always want the best for the communities in which you live, whether you live there or not, or you work or you represent. You represent there. So, so back to Juneteenth. So what else we got going on Juneteenth? We're having the round table of ribs, where the beef, kicking chicken.
Yeah, all of that.
All of that. And as y'all know, y'all see me walking, talking, eating, and dancing. That's all I do. I may have do a little MCing of a program, but and I think the people in Joppa really do appreciate, and they really do come and enjoy. The Juneteenth program, and that's why we always try to bring something to the table of something of history.
Right, and I've noticed over the years, I was like, is there a decline? But we have to recognize that the demographics are changing, and so everyone there, they're not African American, so they don't even know what Juneteenth. So it's our I think responsibility to educate them and give them the option or the opportunity that if they want to be a part of the community, we're not just because you're not African American or you're not a descendant that you can't be here, because we welcome everyone to learn our history. And also I think it's going to be real fun. Also, I know we're not having many vendors, but RMT Network, it's a breast cancer, Barbara Turknett, she's a breast cancer survivor, but she wants to get the word out about breast cancer in men, especially African American men. So she's going to be there giving out a lot of information to people, just so you'll know, because we don't think that men, actually get it. But her being in that community, she realizes, and she's watching it, and she's determined to get the word out about
because
it. Because
men are dying.
Yeah, actually.
And I know that June is Men's Health Month, I believe.
Okay.
I saw that at the library on yesterday. They had a sign up saying June is Men's Health Month. So I do plan on having her on to come on and talk about men and your health. My brother, you need to get it together.
Yes,
Go and get yourself checked out. And I've said on Facebook, if something doesn't feel right, it may not be right. So you need to always go and check out, because we need you here for to be leaders, to be dads to your sons and your daughters, and have daddy's girls, and that kind of thing. So I do welcome her to come on to talk about that. And not only that, we've talked about prostrate. Bad heart conditions and all that especially African American men, often contracts, doing life.
Right.
So now we want to talk about we talked about Lennon and legacy. So you said we got something else special coming up, but I do want to say, for as a Joppa community, so once the multi-purpose center, usually I have a folder. I don't even know if I'll talk about Joppa. So once the multi-purpose center is created, we're up and we're running. What do you hope that the city of Dallas will contribute for as bringing programs in?
Now, you were doing good till you brought the city of Dallas in.
I know. Well, but they have so much to offer.
Yeah, they do. They do.
For letting other communities know that we have, whether it's a cooking class, whether it is aerobics class or whatever, because it's going to be multi-purpose. So.
Yeah, it's multi-purpose, and I'm sure that there are a lot of programs. I just have to
explore.
Yeah, explore. We have a senior wellness center. We do have a lady. She saw us in 2001, and her name is Neva Cochran. Shout out to her. But she was our first donor. She and her husband has since passed away. But she wants to be. She's a nutritionist, and so she's already volunteered her services to come out.
Like healthy eating,
good eating. healthy.
Throw me some
but
French
keeping
fries
us
out there, some
alive.
fried chicken.
But showing us how to eat and in portion control and all of that. But
Okay.
yeah, so we're gonna have a commercial kitchen. I just recently, Keena, she explained to me what I didn't know what a ghost kitchen or a shared kitchen was. So we're going to have that actually. Like I said, the pool, different computer classes, social services, mental health. There's just a lot and that's why I call it the multi-purpose center. But to answer your question, as far as the city of Dallas, I know that they have a lot to offer. So we will explore and partner. I know before I still call him our chief, but Chief Garcia, he had agreed to have not a police substation, but just like a
Okay.
pop-up shop. So where we have their room filled with, their coffees and drinks and everything, but to be, what do they call it, a storefront
Okay.
in Joppa. And so I haven't met Chief Como yet, but so there's different opportunities to partner with the city of Dallas, and looking forward to that.
Okay. So I know that we were also talking about for as the dynamics of the community have changed. We've lost a lot of people that transitioned on. We lost my dear back in February. Some of y'all, my dear Sanders, back in February, and she had made 100 years old, and we want to
101,
give homes
right?
to her and to her family, as well, because she was a fixture,
Yeah.
in the community. So now we have more younger people. We have more, like you said, people of other races or whatever that have moved to Joppa, because at first we were an all African American community, and when we brought them in or brought have that in, we had made them, the plea to let them know that your neighbors may not be the same neighbors that you're used to. Your kids may not even talk the same language as their kids do, but we're gonna make it work. So when we talk about multi-purpose, so we're gonna bring in programs, or you're gonna bring in programs that kind of go with different people and their different races and creeds and colors. Like we have, of course, Cinco de Mayo, and I think that the Asians have some dragon, something, you're the dragon, whatever it's
Yeah.
called. So are we going to look at, when we say multi-purpose, it's going to be multi-purpose across the board?
Oh, for sure, for sure. And we tried to start that Juneteenth, I think 2 years ago. So remember when we made it the
We did.
international? Yeah. So we have, identified different families. And like I said, when the multipurpose center opens, we will have the strategies to be able to reach out to every family and learn of the different cultures. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because everybody, the culture, and they celebrate. We see them, out in their yards with their celebration of the ribbon, New Year's, and everything. So
Right.
it's so many different. So I'm just looking forward to the camaraderie and us actually learning. My mother's a retired flight attendant, so she's traveled the world. So
Right.
she would always
Hello,
bring
beautiful one.
she would always, bring things back home. And so, like I said, that's where the exposure comes from. So we had an Asian family to move across the street from us, and then their family down the street from us. And that was my mom right up her alley. They're a Thai family. And so she was always
Right.
overseas. And so just looking forward to connecting with everyone and not just it being a black community. We've
Right.
accepted what has transpired, and we're just moving forward. So
Right. So, and I want to say, and they brought some food they brought food.
Yeah.
And that food, and usually, I tell you, I don't eat foreign food. I taste something, and that food was amazing.
Yeah.
I'm like, I said, what is this called? And she was
Yeah.
trying to explain to me. I'm like, okay, well, I just come by your house and get
Right.
some. And she knew what I was saying, and she kind of laughed. I'm like, I'll just come by the house and get it whenever you
Yeah.
fix some more of this. So, yeah.
And their
So-
cultural dances, remember they
yeah,
danced?
they did like a celebration dance and whatever else, and then we had a band that came out that year
Yeah.
from Kenna Sun School.
Yes. What is the name of her school? I forgot the name of his school. Oh, Solar Prep for Boys. Shout out.
Okay.
They're doing real good, and they won the debate, and they're going to a championship on Juneteenth, so they're not going to be with us this year. But
man.
shout out to Solar Prep for Boys.
So I also brought, as y'all know, as I usually do, suggestive reading. This one is Let's Celebrate Emancipation Day and Juneteenth by Barbara D. Rubertis. And it talks about just Juneteenth, about American history is filled with stories of people working for noble causes like freedom, justice, and equality. And this is the one that I read last night. I actually sat up and read this one. It's called Hidden Black History, From Juneteenth to Redlining. Now, redlining is something that the Joppa community, as you know, has experienced and that we do experience, in our communities. I remember back in the day when my parents could get fire insurance, but they could not get flood insurance because of, and I would hear them say redlining. And I didn't understand until I got older and saw where certain communities were able to get certain things, for protection, down to, like you said, to insurance, to even, police protection coming out so they wouldn't come to a certain area and, that kind of stuff or whatever. So these were just a couple of books that I picked up. And like I said, I did read this one on last night and had talked about that back several years ago, that Black history was only taught in the month of February. Well, that 1 week that they gave us, now they gave us a whole month. Now we've got Juneteenth, which we take and use the whole month for Freedom Month. So it was just something that, is living in a African American community that her and I have experienced. So as a little girl growing up, what were your feelings about the Joppa community? I always felt safe. I always had fun because I went to church out there. So everything was so convenient for me. Now, it was convenient in the neighborhood because we had Holiday Inn, we had, they did hamburgers, we had Mama Helen's snow cones, and, all that kind of thing, the candy house. So when you were a little girl in Joppa, what were your feelings?
Well, number one, I was sheltered, so I didn't have that. But what I do have, a sense of family, and every Friday. If it wasn't a fish fry, it was a barbecue. I knew all of my grandmother's brothers, her uncles and aunts, just generations. And so I just remember everybody gathering together in the house or in the backyard. So Joppa for me as a little girl just gave me a sense of family. Like I said, they didn't let me go out. I could go out and ride my bike. But I had an aunt that was like 9 years older than me, so I would hang out with her and her friends, tag along, be a pest. But other than that, but Joppa right now is still the same. Like, you go down Brownsville, we all know I got to give shout out to the big house. But the people, you have people actually moving back.
Right.
Okay. And so it's the friendship, the family. If something happened at one house, everybody's running to the house to kind of figure out what's going on, or they're getting on the phone or whatever. So you still have not the original people, but the descendants of the original, and they kind of keeping Joppa where it is, where it was back in the day, the Joppa that we all remember. So
thank you, Adrian. You're right. Miss Tucker's homemade ice cream. Let me tell you something. She sold those ice cream cones for $0.25, and if I could get her back here, I'd have her make me, 100,000 tons of it. That ice cream was so good. And then my great aunt, Bertie Mae Christian, she made all the wedding cakes for everybody in the community. If you got married, Mama Diddy made your wedding cake. And, I really, as I look back and I reflect of the time that, like I said, I always felt safe. Joppa was known and still really is known for, the family networks, the Hulls, the Crowders, they'll be to her aunt, your family, like I said, so it was known, for the Highs and the Dibbles, and I can continue to name a lot of families that that were in the Joppa community. Miss Tucker, which is my friend Peaches that passed away. That was her grandmother. Stayed on Carbondale. Was just so many people, like I said, that you can reflect back and look on. Charlie Mae Jackson, of course, was one of our community leaders. Her and the late Roosevelt Jackson. So when I think about that, and when I was out there, I was out there Saturday, of course, at the event that we had. I was just sitting there looking at the beautiful trees. Yeah. And, and we just planted how many trees at Melissa Field?
30.
30 trees.
30 more.
30 trees at Melissa Field. We also planted a tree at Joppa Mama Farms in honor of the late Vera Sanders, my dear. A berry peach tree, and I asked Kim how the tree was doing. She said, well, it's bearing peaches. I'm on my way. And then don't you pluck a one out there till I get up there. So she said, well, they're not quite ready yet. So, when you think about things like Joppa Mama Farms, and you can go up there and get greens and all that, and it gives gives you, to me, a sense of calmness, a sense of peace that, that when you're there, you home. And people, and we've had people of non-color to come out and say, this reminds me of the country when I would go down to my grandmother's house,
Yeah.
when I was growing up. Yeah, you about right, because it's peaceful and quiet out here,
Yeah.
and when you can sit on your front porch, and I remember sitting on the front porch, doing those shelling those peas.
Peas.
Every time I think about it, I want to break out in hives. But the thing is that I still look back and I reflect of at nighttime how peaceful it would be, and then we all have always been in a good place because we could always see the fireworks. We didn't have to go in. What did Mom and them used to say? We didn't have to go into town. We could see from the job because trees that time were not as high as they were. They were tall and in the bottom. We would go in the wintertime and in the fall and winter and pick pecans. So it's just things that when people talk about Joppa, I would look at them and say, yeah, but you don't know Joppa like I know Joppa.
Right.
And I rep it all of the time, and that's why, today it wasn't the dress up, the heels and all that.
Right.
Oh, no. And I am so ready for next week, for a week after next week, Juneteenth to come, so we can have a good time digging in the dirt. Adrian said digging in the dirt is actual therapy. And she says Rosalie Jackson Gwen's grandmother. Okay. The hulls, plumbing, and building. Well, Adrian, I just had you on the show.
Who, Adrian? Oh, really?
Yep.
Shout out to Adrian.
Hey, Adrian. So, and like I said, and to have someone like you that is in leadership, and of course, I always say, you got help, you got backup, just a phone call away, a text away, and and then we have those that have came on board, as our new neighbors, and they came to our events, and and have now joined in to be, part of the Joppa family.
Right.
So we want to say again, thank you, Shalandra, for coming on. Any final words?
Thank you for having me. You're putting me on the spot. No final words. Well, yeah, I do have final words. But again, thank you for having me. This was a wonderful conversation. I just want people to know that even in preserving Joppa, and we know our history, that's not saying that we don't welcome others to actually come in. We know that as different homeowners, stakeholders, you have a right to be in Joppa, but all we ask is that you just continue to respect our history as we move forward. So,
and as Black communities, we often feel like that we are disrespected. We're not given the due that we're given. We always say we pay taxes just like everybody in Highland Park and Cardin Preston Road and everywhere else we pay taxes. And sometimes, we have taxation without representation. And, we've had good council people. We've had ones that have came to and helped, and we had some that kind of dismissed us for a better word. I'm just going to put it out there, dismissed us for a better word, after the rich history. When I tell people, it's in the ground. It's not just us out talking. It's in the ground. It's in the earth out there. In Joppa with the Melissa Period School. We had at one time 17 streets, 9 churches. We still do have a lot of churches in the community. We have the neighborhood kitchen now, and go back and get the mocktails.
Okay.
All right, Brown. And he brings a lot of people to the community because of the good cooking.
Right.
And like I said, they have a Coke giveaway. It's like, we have a big Christmas. You have a big Christmas giveaway, as well. It's always something that's going on in the Joppa community. And we always tell people, come.
Right.
It doesn't matter that if you were born here or whatever, just come. But if you were born here, they give you an extra advantage. It's St. Joppa's in the house.
In the house.
So, like I said, I love my community. And people always say to me, I said, I don't see myself surviving anyway. And it sounds like that's crazy to say. I guess I have. But, just what Joppa means, of course, in the Bible, a beautiful place. And to some, it may not look like a beautiful place, but to us that were raised there, that still thrive and work in church and come there, it is a beautiful place.
Yeah, it's beautiful because they want it. They want it gentrified. So, we're not the only ones that recognize it's beautiful.
Right.
Right. So.
And you have many partners. You have UTA as a partner, and then of course now, like I said, you have a new friend that has contributed to making sure that the Melissa Pierce project does happen.
Yes.
So that's what we're looking forward to. So again, we're going to go ahead and talk about it one more time. The Joppa Joppa Juneteenth. Again, it is on the 19th of June at the park. Starts from 1 to 5. Come out and hear about some more about history. Meet some of the people from the community of Joppa. And also we have the, I don't know what I did with the
Linen and Legacy.
Linen and Legacy. Again, it's going to be July the 5th at the
here.
Women's Museum.
Right there.
There we go. Linen and Legacy at Joppa All White Affair, July 5th, 2026 at 4 p.m. Again, that is a major fundraiser for the Melissa Pierce Project. So people often ask, well, how can we help to do things in Joppa? This is one way that you can help.
And visit the melissapierceproject.org or .com and all the information to Linen and Legacy and how you can donate, get your tickets. Please start getting your tickets because the space is filling up. We have, just about a month away. So dinner, dancing, comedic relief.
And who doesn't need a good laugh right about now?
You know.
What we're going through, who does not need a good laugh?
A good laugh. Yeah, so come out.
Come out.
Come out.
All right, well, that is our show for today, and I want to thank, again, Shalondra Chriselle Jackson, Shay, as we call her, for coming out. I want to give a shout out to your mom and to your dad.
Yeah, shout out to my mom and dad.
Because my mom's watching, that's why I'm saying.
Oh, she's
your
watching,
mama's on
okay.
here
Well,
watching.
so Gwen and Freddie
One,
Crawford.
thank you for watching, for supporting the show.
Okay.
And again, here at afterpartyradio.com, we want to say thank you for listening. Thank you all for supporting. When I decided to come back on, I wanted it to be a community show where people like Shalandria and a lot of other people can come on the show and talk about what's important to them. And as I've been always saying, if it's important to you, it's more important to me. So good, better, best, never let it rest until your good is better and your better is best. And Joppa, always, you're the best and the best is yet to come. And as we say, when you come in, welcome to Joppa, welcome home. That's our show.